Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's study session. Tonight, we will be looking at the small blind, 40 big blinds deep. We'll be playing against players who open into us, and we will be playing against the big blind. And there are two very different strategies. So we're going to have two kind of little theory sessions, and we're going to break it up with some GTO wizard work in the middle. So to start with, the small blind, 40 big blinds versus a raise from under the gun. The small blind has a pretty prominent calling strategy here and a pretty minimal three bet strategy here. It is because the under the gun player's range is so tight that there isn't a lot of room for us to put in value raises where we're going to be ahead of the player and ahead of the player's whole range. But we still do want to do it with our best hands, ace, king, ace, queen, pocket queens. We do have some jams here, 40 big blinds deep against under the gun. Ace, king, and jacks. They just don't want to make life difficult. They want to simplify and jam sometimes. And your bluff is going to be queen, jack suited. This is going to be really key. Our three betting strategy is going to be centered around this queen, jack suited as we go around the horn. It's going to maintain its three bet value throughout. And other hands are kind of going to come in around this one. So when we have this type of a three bet strategy, we want to call with lots of our best suited hands, aces, kings, and queens, because when we call, the big blind is very incentivized to play with a wide part of the big blind's flush range. And we have the chance to cooler flush over flush. So we have this element of straight and flush connectivity and best flush connectivity that gets to call and some value that gets to raise. Now recognize that some of these raises, when we get four bets, oops. Sorry, what did I do? This first in. First raise from under the gun. When we four bet, or when we get four bets, this is going to be a particularly tough spot for us. It's going to be hard for us to fold these hands that have really high equity. So we'll get to that in practice. As we go around, under the gun won't be four betting us a lot, but other positions will. We see that the queen jack maintains its structure of protecting our jamming range as a bluff. And we have ace, king, ace, queen, and tens here. And as we continue around, our jamming range starts to expand. And we are going to pick up the suited jacks. And so kind of the idea here in these early positions from the small blind to play against the under the gun player and the early position players, we need to have very strong hands to do our three bet bluffs jams with, but we can three bet for value as well. You can see that our three betting frequency, both our jam and our three bet non all in size, goes up as we start to expand into wider and wider opening ranges. There's a shift in the strategy here as we move to the three late positions, where we start to include the suited tens, and we are jamming more and more frequently as the ranges start to get wider. So I hope in game you guys and girls are going to find this spot where you are having these jams versus the cutoff. We are jamming the suited tens and suited jacks. Our queen jack does have a little bit of calling, but this is the only position that it calls from. Otherwise, it's a pure three bet throughout. And against the button open, we are very active with our jamming frequency. All these tens, all these jacks, our best aces, some suited aces from the lower end. But again, a very wide calling range with our best suited hands and our suited connectors that are allowed to come down. All of these type of hands here that are three betting All of these are really high frequency three bets, and with the exception of ace 10, really high frequency folds when we get jammed on. So we'll see that in a bit of solver play, and we'll get to that now. All right, we just looked at the ranges. Do we think that this 10-9 is going to call, three bet, or fold?
Fold.
Good eye. So we were looking at our offsuit tens as high frequency three bets. Against the button. Calling, raising, jamming.
This is a call.
Call.
Great call. Against this, when we get called, we don't want this bottom pair to be jamming. At 40, we're a little too deep. As we get shorter, this is going to become more and more of a jam. This is not looking so great. But against the micro size, do we defend one street with the deuce of spades?
I do not.
All right, we've got our first nit vote in the house. I am also kind of on board here, but I know it's going to want to defend sometimes. Yeah. The deuce of spades, you just don't get to fold a pair. Buttons range is the widest.
I think it's just because the bet is so tiny. And
Yep.
I mean,
All right. And turn went check, check. Do we just check this down, or do we go for some value, or do we go for a bluff here?
I'm checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great spot. We're happy to show down. Oh, that check bets.
we
I'm
don't
folding.
need to call this, just fold. We don't
No.
need to, yeah.
I'm folding.
Oh
too.
my, I mean,
Yeah.
okay, well, listen up. Versus the
Fold.
solver, whatever, he's gonna bluff sometimes, but just fold.
I already folded flop. Hate to be in this spot on the river too, like,
Yeah,
So the buttons range, which part of the buttons range is betting 6 chips? So it is all kinds of missed stuff and some aces and a few tens,
aces, fives, king, tens,
Fives.
sevens, like, I mean,
the sevens look like they're checking here.
they are checking, yeah.
So, but like everything else is going for value here, right? Because 3 5s and tens and aces are good stuff.
All right, fives are trips. So tens and aces.
And ace deuce. All right. Oh, from under the gun. I think we saw this one right at the start.
Yep.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, versus the button.
Rip it
100% of the time, or are we mixing this one?
most of the time.
I like
I'm
that.
not.
Nines, eights, sevens, rip a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a flip. Let's win our flips.
What was that? Nines, eights and sevens usually rip?
Yeah, against the button, the middle, those middle pairs.
Yeah.
9s, 8s, 7s. A lot of ripping against the button. Pretty big.
Okay.
So you rip a lot at 40 with ace queen off, ace jack off, nines, eights, sevens, and then you rip some king 10 suited, queen 10 suited, jack
So
10
that's
suited.
40 and less, 40 BB and less, right?
Yeah, against
40
he's talking
against,
the button.
yeah. I do this
Right.
against the cutoff too.
I'm
All
folding.
right. 3
I
bet
think it,
bluff.
call,
or
it jams to the cutoff, just nines, doesn't it?
Muck that thing.
There we go. Good job.
Go under the gun, yeah.
All right, button. Queen 10 suited.
Ripperoni.
Get out
Off
the
the
rice
turkey, as Pete says.
off it. It can call too, but it loves the stuffaluffagus here. Uh-oh. But we still have a hearts, we still have queen, and still win that hand.
Call.
Queen 7. Oh, little bit of pretty prominent raise here, queen 7.
A decent amount. We're
Yeah,
nothing.
I seriously don't call enough in these spots.
Yeah, when we looked at the range early on, it really wants to incentivize the ability to go flush over flush against the big blind. All of these best aces are what we lined up here, and the best kings and the best queens.
That kind of makes sense because the button is gonna be calling a bunch of like suited hands.
And we don't mind the big blind coming along, when we have ace 5 of clubs and they have, 87 of clubs. Alright. And when the pot goes 3 ways multi-way with everyone having wide ranges, it's going to be hard for them to bet big, right? So flop goes check, check. We have queen high. Do we want to stab here?
I know,
Checking down queen high?
I am. His range is kinda capped, but he's gonna have like pairs that are gonna continue. He's not gonna, he's gonna call 1 bet, I think, with he still has like made hands that didn't see bet.
But everything
I would-
that checked to try and turn a flush draw just bricked.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we're ahead of everything with king high.
Yeah, queen 7 probably want to start betting now. Like king 4, queen, king 5, queen 7, queen 6 probably wants to bet now.
Might be right.
Yeah, it's probably gonna mix here. Like it's probably certainly gonna be a mix spot, so. I'm probably betting this size in game a lot, which it does not want to do. When it bets, it wants to bet big, but mostly just check here. Let's
Makes
briefly.
sense. We don't have much equity. Generally, when we're out of position, we want to have some equity.
Equity driven, yeah, and he is gonna have some made hands. He's checking back on the flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
so-
want to say like in real game when they check back, I don't think they're folding. Like as soon as they check back, I'm like, oh my god, that's a showdown hand.
You don't think they're protecting their checking range by checking this many of their aces?
I have no idea, but like when they check back, usually they just have some kind of showdown, and they're not folding to that first bet.
Yeah, like if you look at the ace strategy, the ace on this board checks like about 30% of the time.
Yeah, he's got kings, queens, jacks, tens, some
yeah.
frequency.
All kinds
Sevens
of-
aren't folding, probably sixes, and no, like pocket pairs probably aren't folding the 1 bet.
Alright. So we get the delayed C bet, and this hand is just trash. Queen 8. Alright, there we go.
Oh, you got us.
Ace jack, suited.
We could rip. We could 3-bet. We could. I don't think it calls.
I'm 3-betting. It has calls. I think it 3-bets and calls. I don't think it jams.
I think it jams here.
I think it has some calls.
Alright, I'm gonna say that probably the EV is gonna be very close for all 3 of these decisions.
Yeah.
I
I'm-
agree.
I'm primarily leaning on this.
Oh, it does jam.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it jams.
It does jam. Get your jams out in chat. So, yep. Very prominent. 2/3 of the time you can just jam this hand. Uh-oh. When you 3-bet and get jammed, I mean, is this too good to fold?
You gotta fold, I think.
Yeah, this,
Oh,
We have to fold.
No, it's not
Oh.
folding.
this one's too good.
I'm definitely folding in game.
There's some ace jacks that fold there, but I'm no, maybe
Well,
higher.
Whereas versus the late position, but then especially online, I don't know. I feel like live, I'd try and get a read. But if it's online, I think you have to call in most stakes.
I would agree with that statement. Live, you pretty much just fold everything.
Pretty much flipping against his range with ace jack.
Well, and first of all, is population finding like 12.5% 3-bets here, right? Are we finding 12.5% 3-bets? Are we getting after
don't-
king 4, queens?
Wait, is this button's jamming range?
No, this is our small blind defense against his open.
I mean, I don't even find 12.5.
Oh, we're
percent
supposed to
three bet.
3-bet the queen six suited.
Yep.
And the king four suited.
I three
so-
bet more than that, actually.
Yeah, remember their range is gonna be offsuit eights and suited fives. So we want to target the cards that are underneath that.
I mean, I
offs-
do 3-bet a lot from the small blind versus the button, especially when you get lower and it's just ripping it in. But
So if a
Yeah.
player, if you're not 3-betting at a high enough frequency here, and a player comes over with a strong play like that, I mean, you can take a really close look at how often a player does that and make some pretty clear tags against what that player's range is going to be.
I
This
don't
is
even
like-
know what.
I
This
feel
might
like
3-bet
people
like
aren't
20%.
jamming. I don't think I jam the button enough, so I probably need to look at what the. I don't re-jam the button enough on the small blind. I usually call.
Me too.
So high call, very low frequency raise here. Remember, we're really
Makes
just looking
sense.
jack suited. But because this is right next to it, it pulls it occasionally. We get this monotone board.
Tiny
So
bet.
our range is mostly all suited hands. We don't really defend offsuit much at all here, so not a terrible flop. to
Not a
get to
terrible,
Showdown with.
but we did 3-bet this hand.
Oh, we three
So
bet?
we lack a lot of the range that contains the aces and kings of suited. So I think this is gonna have a really high frequency check.
I'm betting
All right, how big, Ken?
small, like the two.
2.
Tiny bet.
I think it's gonna be a lot of checking here.
2, that's 10%. But that's the right bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Right,
monotone flop.
So on a lot of these 3-bet pots, like there's gonna be some micro bets and then polarizing turns.
Oh,
Wow.
damn.
Now, I polarized, but I don't go too big because you could just have a flush. So I go like, what's that, 11 something?
Yeah, half pot.
Yeah,
Half pot seems pretty reasonable, allows him to continue with a lot of single spades here. But maybe it only goes 5.
I think there are some 17s too.
usually when you go really tiny, the next bet
Oh,
is generally
no,
a little
shit.
polarized. And I'm not surprised by all those checks, honestly, either.
Yeah, I'm not either, but I did think it was gonna be this size, just makes the
did.
pot 30 and has a
You mean
cleaner
like
river
easier
sizing.
easier to navigate rivers.
How
Yeah.
often do we check?
All right, with the SPR, Peter, I missed that.
Yeah, primarily it's 55% here, right?
What's in our range?
But there's no overcards for him to call though, right? So you want to check this one back, right?
All single spades.
Yeah, so this type of hand is a spot where we're either way ahead or we're way behind, right? Like this player either has a flush and it's going to be a good flush, or we're crushing their pocket aces with the ace of spades here with our 3 10s. So this hand is very easy to call a bet or check raise.
I don't think we call. I think we just rip it in. I don't think we call because when he bets, he still has a lot of single spade.
He does.
Especially when he uses small sizing. I think we just go with this hand. It's my gut feeling.
My only
The
thought
hand
with
is
that,
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're just
the
getting
hand
called
is-
from a beat though.
you're going to separate his hands and you're only going to play against his value. But maybe you want to get the ace and king of spades to call off right now. Yeah, I can see it.
I think we call.
Yep, primarily
No-
call. There is a
no
little bit of
ripping.
jam.
A
So
little bit of clicking it too.
Mhm.
Wants to get that last bet in on the river.
yeah, it wants to it like we're not folding this hand, but we want to keep his single spades in the pot. So it chooses the smaller sizing here
That's
and
savage.
chooses to allow him to try and bluff river here as well.
The click is savage. I love it.
Oh. Well,
Oh my gosh.
Need to
Silver
pair that-
Oh, we
medals.
don't have to worry about the spades.
yep.
I got
Mhm.
silver medaled a lot yesterday, but it happens.
It happens.
I
All right.
love that
Is-
term though, by the way. It's like, nobody necessarily did anything wrong. Just, you know,
It was the
All right.
situation that came up.
yep.
Do we
Call.
just fold here? No,
No, we
never.
call here.
So ace deuce, I think folds on the chart here, but like ace three is gonna defend.
I
And it's a-
wonder. I want to next time. I'm gonna open up my database and see
Mhm.
every single time I call ace three against early position. What's my EV? I have a gut feeling that it's losing my. I'm losing my ass.
Well, you're probably losing 90% of the time, but when you win, you probably cooler the big blind for a stack. Right? So as
Oh,
you
yeah.
get deeper, this is probably better. Right?
Yeah.
40 is probably pretty cuspy. Like if you go down to 30, this hand's never going to make it in range, right? You're going to be ace five suited, and that's maybe the only wheel. Paired low board. Just a check.
Oh,
I'm raising.
I
I
love
think
a
from
click
the
here.
yeah from the big blind I would raise. From the small blind, I don't
I think
it
it's
makes
still gonna
much
do
sense.
it.
So how many deuces
I
does our
probably have
We
a
don't have-
bias towards calling here, so I'm gonna raise since Ken said so, but I don't think we have that many like raises from the small blind, check raises.
We have
But-
overpairs.
A bias towards calling. which I
Enjoy
Yeah,
shouldn't.
my thing is you
deuces.
don't have a lot of suited deuce. Like you just don't have a lot of hands on this board.
No, we're not gonna have a lot of check raises, but I honestly think this hand's still gonna do it. We're gonna have some. I think this one's gonna be one of the ones mixing it in there with our value.
Yeah, I for sure agree. I think this one's going to check raise at some frequency. I think it's going to be calling primarily though. Yep, definitely check raises
Mostly
all three
calls,
sizes.
but it can check raise if it wants to.
And no one finds more thin check raises than Ken. He is a beast to play against. That's why I make him play on other sites.
Ugh.
What do you mean make him play on other sites?
I told him about global, and he's mining it over there right now.
Where have you been playing lately? Oh, you play on GG and Poker Stars.
Yeah, I've been doing well on Poker Stars. All right, King Queen.
I think that's mixed, right? Call or three bet.
Feel like
Yeah, I
this might,
think
want-
three
is this
bet.
jam?
maybe jam.
I don't think this hand jams.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, not.
I think it's probably going to be about 80% three bets, 20% call. Oh, it
Jam.
does
Oh, it
stuff the
does
turkey.
jam. It likes.
Let's go, Cap.
Maniac.
I do like it if you. I didn't have that many spots,
I jam it.
but I like it when
Oh,
you
yeah, half the
do
time.
those like huge jams live once, and then they're like, "What the heck? What do you mean all in?"
I think you're a maniac.
Yeah, they.
I
40
bet
bigs, what's
too.
wrong? Who
Wait.
jams 40 bigs?
in live games when you do that, people are gonna look at you like you're crazy.
All right, so we three bets instead of jamming, and we get this flop. Queen of spades, and
I jammed 70 bigs with Ace King, and they had folded tens.
What's that white
People
color?
were folding and showing to me a lot.
I like the
55%.
9.6, is it?
Poker.
I don't know what you
55%.
do here.
9.6.
I think it goes half pot as the C bet, but I don't know if it wants a C bet. And poker sucks. And I don't think it goes small, but maybe. I think it likes half pot generally. A lot of our value pot hands go half
It was
pot.
slightly more connected. I would go to 14, but I think 9 is good here.
I just don't like our hand.
I'll go 14.
Okay, Saeed's hammering it. All right, I think it's gonna mix these pretty prevalently here. I don't think it's gonna have a lot of checks though.
No, I think it's mostly gonna have.
No, I'm not.
Both of these two sizes primarily, and a tiny bit of checks, so. It's against here, you just narrow the range of the opponent's continues against, so they only play against their value hands here. It's too hard for them to continue.
So like
I
if it was
just
10,
think
8,
that I
10,
can do
9,
whatever I
Jack
want.
10, I think you go bigger. But the 7, I think is lets it slide down. a
Oh.
bit.
Fold.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess we got.
Are we pot committed?
No,
I don't know,
really think
like
there's
it's
a such
only
thing
21 more to win 60.
to win
right?
80, right?
Yeah,
I think you
So-
call with the king of spade. You don't call with this one.
25%, 3. I don't think you can call. I mean, I'm out.
it's gonna be pretty close.
can we
Not-
see what's calling?
Yeah,
Nugget.
we'll take a look. Cause you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna click it. There we go. Good.
I'm in it.
Yeah, the king and queen of spades are probably both gonna call here.
Yeah.
And king, queen without maybe is gonna start finding some folds.
Oh my gosh, I just, maybe that's a leak that I will never call it because I don't feel like the jam. What are they supposed to just rip on us?
Doesn't feel like there's enough value there
Feels
to
really
call.
spewy.
Every single king, queen?
Yeah, it's only 1.7 chip, right? Like it's a 0.78 call here. It's a 0.155 call if you have the king of spades. Like this is a very thin call.
You're
So
pretty
let's
much
take a
doing
look.
that because the solver's jamming wide, right?
Well, let's take a look at what the solver is choosing the all-ins with here. So the solver is choosing all-ins with all the
So
overpairs.
a human
have.
isn't gonna do that. Well, they
And
will
they're
have
10.
overpairs.
Yeah,
And
Well,
the 10s.
They're gonna raise their tens, and they're gonna raise their overpairs here. But these bluffs, I mean, this is pretty-
Yeah. They got 62 combos. I don't really think we're gonna be facing 62 combos a whole hell of a lot, but. I think you're gonna face a lot of flushes, a lot of top pair. A
Yeah,
lot of like the obvious straight draws, like
Lot
the
of
easy
aces.
stuff they're gonna find.
so their combos, like they have 15 flush draws out of those 62 combos.
And they're
then-
probably jamming more flush draws than this, honestly. Like, that's where they'll find more bluffs, like hands that this isn't shown as an all in. They'll have other ones, right? More of them.
And so then they're also with all their tens here, right? So they've got, 1, 2, 6, 10, 15 combos, and then another 12, 12, 10, or 12, 12, 6. So, they've got a fair number of combos of tens here. So, yeah, it's probably pretty reasonable. Then a bunch of flushes.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable.
Okay.
Population might jam the same like frequency, but just not the same combos.
Yeah, you're not going to see this out of population.
Yeah, population jams, you're behind huge, I think there.
Well, you're behind, but you're not that far behind, right? There's a lot of tens that they have. So, but some of your outs are poisonous because they make two pair. Because they have king 10 a lot, queen 10 a lot.
I
Particularly
love
from-
that when you say
side.
some of your outs are poisonous. Poisonous outs, and that's when I hate when you call it and you're like, well, I had two overs, and it's like, no, you didn't.
All
You
right,
had
are we going to
poisonous
go
overs.
full savage here?
No, I don't. I do think we do this versus the button, or no, versus the
yeah,
cutoff
we
or
just,
hijack. We
we,
might be
we
able
just
to-
saw
offs-
it
The
from the
offsuit's three
beginning.
betting,
It's a
just a
all
call. isn't
in.
it?
I mean, can I
calling.
do a regular ass 3-bet too?
Yeah, so poker coaching is going to use this as a 3-bet all in. GTO Wizard is probably going to choose this as a primarily call and it's going to pick the tens instead. It does have a pretty prominent 3-betting jam strategy here. So if you do
Versus
want to jam
under
it,
the gun, we can just do this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I suck.
well, it's the bluff that balances your pocket tens and ace king.
I guess it can be a primary bluff candidate.
Whoa. Well, we're in pretty good shape here.
Call.
You can make a strong enough second pair by just turning a card here. Yep, primarily call. Worst combos are gonna definitely check raise here.
Stuff that wraps around like the bottom of our range, the suited connected stuff.
Yeah, with some straight equity. Oh, all right. Board texture getting worse, but we pick up equity here. We get here with queen high.
Oh,
I don't think we get to check.
I'm checking. I mean, under the gun range, there's an ace, a king on the board, like,
I mean,
we
we
don't
could
really
fold out some
block.
pairs.
we don't block any nuts. We block bluffs. So like, just checking.
There's only a missed flush draw. I'm checking.
We do block all his folds, you're correct, though.
We're blocking everything, right?
Do we still get some folds from his pocket fives, his pocket eights, a seven?
So if we bluffing small then to target those?
Yep.
That might be good.
Maybe we just are good enough with this queen high. We can bluff worse queen highs. Yep. Oh, it is bluffing very small or massive here.
Yeah, really big. I don't find it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a thin
Feels bad.
0.09.
let's take a look. How prevalent is our bluff strategy here on this river? It is 21% of the time, and that is a lot of value with aces. So when you have a lot of value hands that want to bet big, you have to find bluff hands. And so it chooses these queen highs, and these jack 10 and queen 9, and then sevens,
Five,
if not
six,
four, threes,
five,
and
four.
just turn the bottom pairs that we have here into a bluff. So you block
It's like
a
our
little bit
only
of that
pure
hand.
bluff is like queen jack suited. It's like our queen
Yeah.
9, that's a pair. Jack
Yep.
10,
Jack
jack 10
10.
and queen jack are like our only pure bluffs.
But in a spot where the turn goes check, check, we just have a lot of our range that wants to bet for value. So we have to find some bluffs here. Right? Because we still do have like pocket nines here, pocket fours here. So. All right. Oh. We're just gonna get out of the way. Oh, river's the set. Just gross. At least we didn't bluff that one. All right. King
I've
six.
been
suited.
noticing that I've been getting trapped more, like, people have been, I don't know if they're playing correctly or not, but they've been checking to me online, and I'm just like, what? Did you want me to bet instead?
All right.
Like call,
This-
Oh, that's the call.
close.
Fold call or three bet.
Call,
what
like, but if
call.
it's an
Uh,
ICM, fold.
100%
If
call.
it's GPV,
I think it's bottom
call.
of range.
Okay. Dooley's mixing it up. Let's take a peek. It is primarily a call. It's starting to find some folds, but
Which is why, like, once you get into like ICM spot or like even 50%, 25% of the field left, it's actually
Might get some docks here. Not with
goes.
this, I wouldn't do it with this combo, but this, we might get leads on this texture.
Oh yeah, 10 high tends to have some leads.
Alright. I think
I
it's
don't
shit.
think you get to lead against the under the gun player. I don't think we have any leads at all.
Yeah.
yeah, probably, well, we'll take a look at this spot here and take a quick look to see if there's any leads. I think a 10 high board is still gonna be too good. I think we're really looking for a
You could-
7 high texture.
You could
No,
lead
we're
against.
like, oh, no, we don't have
99%
any.
check.
Yeah, I guess since we called from the small one, we just had to freaking check.
If we change
So
this,
is that a prominent strategy amongst some textures to donk from the small blind?
look at
No,
this.
they're
Middling boards. I
Yeah,
thought since under the gun didn't really have many 10x, we'd still get to do it. I was guessing.
Yeah, I mean, under the gun is still gonna have their suited nines and their offsuit jacks, but there's offsuit tens are gonna mix a bit. So they're gonna have a little bit of offsuit tens, but they're still gonna have all of their suited tens at full frequency. And then also because we're three betting our tens here, we are devoid of top sets. So a bit of a small point, but
Right.
check. Is this going to check raise as a bluff? Okay. Get to the turn. This card is not good for him. It's good for us.
Can we dunk now?
I would probably still check again. I mean, maybe we should bet. I guess we
We
have to
do-
bet.
We do have this card, which is nice because it allows us to cooler him if he rivers a king here a lot. So Yeah.
Yeah, we do some donks.
still primarily a check. Yeah, if a streak goes check, check, the turn becomes a lead instead of a donk. Right, from the terminology standpoint, I think if you're in, oh, look at what I said. It was like I knew this was gonna come, all right. Are we going to bet and try and set him up to bluff us? We unblock the spades.
I'm just lazy and I bet pot or
Yeah, I think we
whatever.
either bet big or check and let him bluff.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think we're
five.
gonna do all three. I think we're gonna check, we're gonna bet big, and we're gonna bet small to protect our small bet range.
What's
Yeah,
I
up?
think it's
similar
mostly,
to the queen jack suited hand.
I
Sam,
think
you
it's
were gonna
mostly
say?
a check.
Okay, we'll take a look, see. Just a straight value bet here. Not very tricky. Just
Wow.
opens it up. The EV of all these spots is pretty close, but it definitely is afraid of him checking back.
What's that, 2/3? I don't know the bet size.
Yeah, 3.5. So out of 6.5, so
Okay,
55%.
not too greedy. Ah, he
Ooh,
raised for us.
but he gives us a raise anyways. I think we're probably high enough up in our value range to continue. The question is, are we going to raise and only get called by better?
I'm absolutely all in here.
We have an
think he's good enough.
unexpected good hand.
Chip it.
Nick is just looking for it to go all in. It is good. Everyone,
There
Nick
you
is
go.
joining us today and he has started up a cash game study. So if you're not only playing tournaments, he has cash game content now on Saturdays. So thanks for
Saturday
popping in.
mornings at 11 Eastern Standard.
That's right. After your cartoon time, you can sit down and learn some poker from a guy who knows all about cash games and is learning
Right.
to be a crusher. So, King 5, are we going to find a raise here?
I think it's
Sometime.
a very high frequency call.
Yeah, maybe King 6. Take a peek, see. You got to find some low kings to 3-bet with here.
I think it's like king 2, king 3.
Oh, King 3, King 4, King 6. Okay.
So if you're pulling from that region, you're in good shape.
If you're a little itchy and you get after it with this one, we won't roast you on a database review. I won't, at least. All right. So we get this flop a nice marginal hand. Check, check.
Oh,
Checking again.
Yeah, this is a card that's good for his range. Her range. Does have some bets, very small, starting to bloat the pot like a dead fish. There we go.
Easy call.
Pretty
Call.
easy call. Pretty straightforward here. Now, do we lead?
God, I want to.
We block spades, so we block some of his bluffs. We block his bluff that contains a king for a straight draw. So we block a lot of his really natural bluffs here. So is he going to be a little value heavy with a queen?
I
think
don't think we're
bet
gonna
two.
bet. Go ahead.
Bet two, and then he will definitely re-raise, and then you can just call or go all in.
So
Okay.
from a range perspective, the 5 isn't necessarily a good card for us. We have very few 5x in range. And like if we have ace 5, it's folding to that sizing on the turn. So this is one of the few combos of 5s we have. So I don't think it changes the nature of the board enough for us to bet right here.
I would check.
I want to check and get it all.
All right, you
I mean,
greedy
equity didn't
guesses.
shift
Yeah.
like, it did, so.
There we go.
You guys are all lying in the weeds. There
There
you
we
go.
go.
uh,
Now
jam.
ship it.
Jam.
Oh, queens.
That's
Seven. Oh,
exactly.
spicy. A chopping queen goes for big value on the river. I don't know. Alright,
Yeah, he
ace nine.
didn't have a
off.
spade. He wasn't blocking the straight. It's like,
Yep.
we have very few combo hands there. Or value hands rather.
Call.
You can mix, oh, no, maybe not.
It's, against the under the gun position.
I think it's ace ten bottom.
But ace ten
This-
was too good. It's like ace seven, ace six or something. Ace five gets in there. No,
Yep, the offsuit
That's what
ones
it
and
Offsuit.
poker.
I know
poker
I've seen
coaching
some
has-
ranges with ace nine, ace eight,
You're in the
ace
big,
seven.
you're on the big blind range.
Yeah, so, oh, sorry. There we go. Here it is. So 3 bets with these ones. These ones are just a little too good. Yep. All right, 3-3 deuce, slightly better than the deuce 3 or deuce 4 we saw earlier. That one was a frequent call, a little bit of a raise. I think this one with a better ace is going to be more of a call.
Place with a newly signed loan eight.
Does it?
Yeah, it's a call.
I was wondering if it ever folded.
Probably a little too strong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
clearly.
if you don't have the flush draw, I think you fold.
Oh yeah. Yeah, ace nine of clubs, you can just muck that here. All right. Correct. Nice polarized bet. We're not getting immediate odds to draw to this flush on a paired board. Do we want to continue?
oh boy.
I don't like calling. Feel like I'm more inclined to raise fold or like jam. I don't know.
Wow.
no raise folding from
Yeah, no jam.
Ace high might just still be good, so I guess we gotta
I
call.
think this is just a call with
I think-
one over to all his overpair. And
It's
the
a
nuts
call.
and call. It's
I
just
think
a
calling
straight
is the
up
only
call.
option.
I think
Yeah, I
calling,
think
cause he'd
calling
be
is-
betting big with a king, right?
Yeah, call.
He went very polarized, so jamming isn't gonna beat or benefit.
The river super bricks out. We have called a polarized bet.
Yeah, you just check. And hope he checks back, jack ten of cards.
Are we gonna bluff catch ace with ace high hearts here?
I am not.
Yeah, fold if it. Oh, never
Okay,
mind.
There we
king jack
go.
off. Nice.
Guys even go for it there without a heart.
Alright. Jack nine suited,
Call.
occasionally raising here. Very nice, very connected. Very good. Probably strong enough to call it. Probably doesn't want to get 3 bets.
I'm raising and stacking off here.
It's gonna raise some. I mean, you'd like to have an over to the queen, but this will still find some raises, I think.
Yeah,
Mm.
primarily raising and mixing the 2 sizes. Little bit of call, but it is.
Yeah, but
planning
what
to get
other
it.
hands are we, raising? Like, what's our value when we raise?
Let's take a look, see.
Sets. 2
Ace,
pair.
queen,
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 eight,
king,
six,
queen, eight
queen, jack,
suited.
pocket eights, pocket sixes. Good
Pocket
queens
Do we
and
always have ace queen here? Yeah, full frequency.
Yeah, we have it at probably pretty full frequency. Right?
We
Ace
have
queen
queen eight
suited
suited.
here.
We
Ace
have
queen off.
eight
We've-
suited. Sixes and
Mhm.
eights we have.
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough, then we could raise.
And like we have a combo draw here, so even if we have aces, we're like flipping.
It wasn't a combo draw. It's a flush draw plus a backdoor combo.
Nope,
No, it's
we
a
can hit a
gut
10.
shot.
What gut shot on the flop? There's no gut shot.
The
I
10.
need 10.
Oh, a 10.
Yeah, 8, 9, 10, jack queen. And we turn a little bit of more equity here. Is this gonna be enough for us to just click it?
Not sure what to do.
Like what?
That's one option.
No,
So I think-
when you have a pair, you always check. That's what the solver does.
I mean, I was leaning towards check, but it still might bet small. We used a small bet in a
So-
similar spot.
This card is actually pretty good for our check raise range, so I think we'll be checking it some, but I think we're gonna be mostly betting small.
Yeah, I think it's just check or bet 6, I think.
I agree. I think it's gonna be betting a lot, but it is all in when you do go for
It
it.
is all in.
You wanna put a lot of
Yes.
pressure on his hands that have overcards that have equity and hearts as well here too. Cause remember, his continue range is also gonna have some combo draws that we're technically behind because they're gonna be king high. Right?
No, we're not
Well, we
behind.
made
We're
a
ahead.
9. Yeah. So if we check, which is the much more difficult line to play, we get this
Oh,
7.
it's so gross.
I'm jamming here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not in the tournament, I don't think.
I'm check calling.
I was
So-
totally having a fun Sunday and trying all of the Nick jams that I never usually do. And I mean, they did work a few times, but sometimes I'm like, but one time a guy almost folded 2 pair and I was just like experimenting with how many Nick jams can I do?
How many rebuy you did?
Oh,
I did make,
Just
I
kidding.
got a 5th place, but other than that, I didn't really, I mean, I had like 1.4K in buy-ins and like 850 or 900 in cashes, but it was fun to experiment, like figure out where like I can jam instead, because I a lot of times default to like not thinking that I can jam in certain spots. So I was like, oh,
I mean, the jack
How's
box,
How's it feel
nuts,
to win
but the 10's
15K?
a straight too, so it's dicey.
how does it feel to what?
Win 15K, congrats.
Oh, it feels good. I was like, man,
wow, it's
You
not
could-
jamming tens. Okay.
High
I thought
roller.
tens
that
would
that
wanna
was
put it
30-minute
in.
blinds makes the tournament last a long time. Because the one that was today that I didn't play was 25-minute blinds and it already ended at 9 o'clock. We
Tens
were
is
there at
straight.
3 in the morning, 2
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
morning.
Twenty
These
is like
ones
a
that
hyper.
these ones that all have straight interaction that like have the pair or have the gut shot, they all want to bet on the turn. So yeah, we don't get to bet the river because our hands that have hearts turn bet a lot here.
I'm surprised 7X is jamming there with, is this the river?
No, this is on
Yeah,
the
it's a
turn.
flush.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, this is A7 of hearts and King 7 of hearts on the turn.
what's our river jamming range? I thought our tens would be happy to rip it in.
Well, 10s are straight on the river.
Yeah.
So it is not ripping, it is
Well, we're
betting
not ripping.
small.
Jack
Right,
10
That's
is a
because
little
you
bit.
want to get
the
worse
nuts.
to call. Like, I don't know. Rivers are so weird.
It's bluffing king jack a little bit and jack 10's jamming a little bit. Super nuts.
On the breakdown of ranges, who has more straights?
Straights. Pretty proportional.
9% to 21%.
Yeah,
And that's us with 29%.
29.8 is the small blind. Yes, that's us. So we have more straights here as a percentage of our range. But our range has gotten narrowed because we check raised. Right? And like we check raised the 10 very prevalently here. But flushes are pretty even. So we have the straight advantage and that's why it goes for us here. So yeah, it just has the over pairs. Okay. Tough spot.
Where are the bluffs coming from on the river?
For us,
Yeah.
so
King
probably
jack.
King
probably
jack
single
off.
big
King
hearts.
jack without a spade.
I didn't notice. It was just a sliver of king jacks. We jammed the jack 10, the super nuts, and a sliver of king jack off, and I think ace jack off.
Well, even just like we were betting large, like 2x, right?
So with the king of hearts, we can bluff big. Right, with king jack. And ace jack
Yeah, it's-
with the ace of hearts.
We just don't have a big sizing. It's all a third pot, okay?
Just the ace and king
So
of
it's
hearts.
going, just going for wide value with everything.
Probably a fold. 0 EV. Pocket fives.
Hmm.
All right, so we've been in this spot before. We know it's gonna want to call.
Different flop this time, though.
Jack 8 deuce.
I mean, I'm out. It's my call, but I'm out.
I think call is okay, raise is okay, folds it. It's just kidding. No, don't be like that.
Against the
think
1/3
I
size.
would call to versus small bet.
I feel like versus on the gun, we defend more front doors and a lot less back doors.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's gonna be close. Oh,
I
it's
think
not
it's
even,
fold.
it's
Yeah.
actually a punt.
It's not a punt, it's
'Cause I know
close.
from the big blind, you're gonna be,
Mhm.
the big blind, you're gonna be folding. So I probably should fold in the small blind too.
With the
Yeah,
jack
remember-
eight
When
low,
you
you're
make
gonna
it
have a lot of
rainbow,
straight
does it
draws.
continue?
All of your stuff below the 8 just wants to give up. You need a card above the 8 to continue.
Or the front door flush.
Yeah, the front doors are.
So we just have better hands to defend here. All right, we are going to.
What about if you make it rainbow? Does it do anything? Does it change anything?
We can do that.
I would say no.
I don't think it does. I just wanna see.
Do some diamonds. It finds a little bit of bluffs with our hand now,
More folds.
but yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
the
well-
other like ace four, ace four, like that other stuff's folding more now.
as we have less continues with our hands that flop the flush draw, we have less hands that get to continue with some value too. So
And you don't have the front door anymore.
we don't have as many easy continues, so our continues that are here are a little bit tighter by nature. All right, so I did promise that we are going to switch things up a little bit, and we are going to continue on the small blind, but against the big blind. And
I just wing it in these spots.
we are going to have to change this.
I play
this.
blind versus blind like heads up. I just wing it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Guessing by golly.
All right, well,
It's so
I
funny
thought
how
Cap
different
was
the
like
ranges are in
the
cash.
master. Oh,
I
you
am-
mean, yeah, the cash ranges are completely different because of the rake and the deep stackness.
Well, specifically
And
small
that's what
blind versus big
happened
blind.
is. Oh, because you're basically never have limps in the small blind, right? In the cash game?
You do in my charts.
Oh, you do have limps?
Mhm.
not a ton, but yeah, in tournaments here, you could essentially just give up on your offsuit fives. But how do we figure out this type of a chart? Where is it pulling from and what's it doing? So the important thing to note is other than aces, you're just mixing all of your frequencies that want to raise. So if you find a raise, it's probably not really a mistake, but if it's a pattern in your game, it can become a mistake. The area that it's really looking to do a lot of raising from is the suited hands that go in this block here. Ace king suited, ace queen suited, ace jack suited, ace 10 suited, ace 9 suited, which makes sense. These are your very best value hands. And as it goes down, it stops raising at the suited eights so much, and it passes it off to the offsuit eights. And so while you're mixing frequencies, these best offsuit hands want to check and play a smaller pot because they have less equity than their suited compatriots. So your offsuit hands then pick some bluffs here in the 7s and 8s area particularly. And as you exit the best 6s, you start picking up with these 6s. And so then your suited 6s, suited 5s, and suited 4s, and in this boomerang shape, get to do some raising more prevalently here because when they get better hands to fold, it is really good. So to balance your range here, you're going to have your value block, you're going to have this bluff block, and then you're going to have this suited bluff block. And you're going to be protected with flatting kings, ace king, ace queen, all these suited kings, all these suited queens, some suited aces, and lots of offsuit aces. So a very interesting strategy, and one that is hard for people to implement. And we'll get ourselves into a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, a way to maybe help simplify would be raise your like suited high-low garbage, raise your offsuit middling stuff, and then raise the top of your suited range.
Yep. So the 3 components: your best suited value, your middle offsuit, and towards the bottom of your suited stuff. Well put, Nick. Let's see what that looks like in practice, because this is going to be messy. All right, 9-5. Who wants to raise?
Doesn't this start to muck? No.
Just lame.
Remember,
Yeah, this is
our,
a
It's 0
call,
EV.
it's a
I
call.
fold.
our offsuit 5s are
If
going
you're
to be
against a
the
tough opponent, then fold, but I would mostly call.
What's the fold to steal?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. If you
See,
have
I
that
don't
type
use
of a HUD
HUDs
stat,
as much as I should, and I don't really care about the HUD. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
all right. Ranges are super wide here.
I bet 1 big blind.
I'm gonna bet here.
Why are you going to bet?
With the spade, you're gonna generate more folds. I'm gonna bet here.
That is very clearly something we're going to take a look at, and is probably going to be a primary heuristic. A lot of our single spades hands are going to probe.
Also, a board that's just hard to defend for the big blind. They have
Mhm.
so many whiffs.
So, yep, we can see all of our hands that have particularly an over with a spade, really loving the value bets with an ace here and with a king. And then the stuff kind of in the middle wants to do more checking. And then the stuff at the bottom wants to do more betting. And we have ace 4s here. Okay. Oh, because we tagged in spades. Okay. So now when we untag spades, it shows all our 4s here as well. Yes. So lots of probe betting half the time. So essentially, we found a spot where we can get in the pot and bet half the time with our range. And hey,
Oh, money.
money. All right. How often are you checking here? Sorry.
You should be raising the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Check like 15%.
Yeah,
I love
you live like no more than 20%, I don't think.
Yep, raise this one up. Right, aces were on the charts, the only one that are pure 3-betting, but or pre-raising, but you can definitely raise this. Great board, but not great for us with this
Ooh.
card.
Now we're lost.
Mhm.
I'm checking.
It does use a bigger size when it bets a bit, but mostly it bets small here. The same idea. Particularly, we would be betting our spade, but in these spots, you're going to see a lot of mixing strategy. So I don't think it's going to be very definitive here.
I think we're gonna be betting small a lot because the ace is good for our lane range, but this is the epitome of a marginal made hand where there's no more overcards that can come for us.
Yeah, probably part of the
Oh.
problem is 50% of our range is betting, right? So if we're betting all of this garbage, these kings are still just pretty far up in our value range.
We're gonna bet reverse linearly, so like pocket fours bet the most and kings check the most.
We went check and it went check. The king of hearts. Are we going to go for some value now?
Yeah, I think you could start betting now.
I bet like 2.
Or let's take a peek. Oh, smaller. 1 or 2 still. These marginal made hands. Oh boy. Oh. Well, we still have lots of 4s in our range, so does bet.
We just get called by worse pairs, like a 6, a 5, a 3, a 2.
Set ourselves up for a pretty good bluff call here, I think.
I think this is just a muck.
Right? Well, we don't have a spade, right? King of hearts, not great, but yeah, 6-4. The stakes and rivered it anyways. I think in game it's probably not good when a player bets that big, but it's the solver. Gonna have to call there with kings sometimes.
Suited queens are the most frequent limps.
Very frequently. Right, remember the suited 8s are the bottom of that kind of value that goes, so. And are we probing?
I think we can mix here. Yeah.
Very prevalent mixed spot. Marginal made hand with a draw. Probably check, check.
I think we can check or bet small.
Yeah, again, very much mixed. Sizes up a little bit, but. Just a call. Ooh, well, this is not going to shut down his value with a king. But it's going to be hard for him to call with a lot of stuff.
So we can overbet, right? In this spot, like sort of targeting a king.
If you're
Well-
targeting a king, why don't you just check and let him bet it?
If you're targeting a king, you can also keep his bluffs in by checking.
Right.
If you bet, you're only going to play against a king and better. Right? Maybe if he has a flush here, you can check raise and get it all in. Is he still going to bet a king and he's still going to bet a flush here?
Oh, it's not. Yeah.
Oh, I love the block bet to get him to raise. That's great.
And can we go all the way?
What was the action here?
We checked.
We bet,
turn
turn
went check,
call,
check.
turn check, call. I don't know if we get to go for all of it.
GP.
Yeah, we do.
Greedy. It is a greedy gobbler.
Yeah,
Holds the
exactly.
king. Ouch. I gotta say, I don't know that population is gonna fold a king there very often.
They should be.
Jack deuce.
Not if you're playing against me.
All right. Bottom of the range. Just fold your jack deuce. Oh, give it up to 10-5. Alright,
Raise it up.
and we get a suited connected board with a flopped 43 straight. Gonna be in
Wow, this
his
is
suited best
interesting.
range. Yep.
I think we can play this a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we could check or bet small.
I think we can check raise, we could check call, or we can bet large.
Yeah.
I think a
with
lot of
the-
those options are gonna start.
Yeah.
Check, check. King is good for our raising range. Our hand has a ton of equity here that it wants to put some chips in the pot, but we also have some showdown with ace high.
I'm just checking now.
Mhm. You can bet one here. You're just probably ahead with ace high enough. Get some auto folds. Just let him bluff it off.
And check call.
Check. Oh,
Ooh. Well. His second pair good enough to call pot and a half. Behind,
I think it's mixing fold and call. This is kind of miserable.
yeah, it's really bad that you're holding spades here. I think I'm probably leaning towards a fold. But it calls, it's pretty low EV.
yeah.
So are you guys finding this size of bet with top pair, blind versus blind? Pot and a half on the river. Top pair, medium kicker. It's gonna be pretty good in these spots where we're very, very wide. High frequency call. And marginal mate. We check. We can bet one as well. Uh, and go for thin value. All right, we haven't seen a lot of dramatic spots, but I guess that's the nature of wide ranges against wide ranges. You shouldn't see a lot of big betting. Ace five, gonna call a lot. Studying the ranges are what's important. Probing sometimes, checking. Okay. Let's say we are winning a lot of hands from this small blind. All right, here we go. This is a hand we want to get value on. I think I want to bet small because you can still get called by a 5 and a 2 very easily here. But
I want to check raise.
it's gonna be hard for him
And
to
I
bet
want-
on this board.
I want to bet big. No, he has all the queens, right? Like if he has queen 10 off, he's gonna bet.
Okay.
And he has all of them. That's why I want to bet big, because you're coolering all his queens.
Checking is probably checking just to check raise here with how prevalent the big bet strategy is. If you do find a big bet here, this is a great spot, your best value hand. There we go. We got the check, and judging from what we saw with the big bet size, it's probably going to check raise a little bigger. Yep. Reducing that stack to pot ratio, changing the equity of draws, continues. Probably half pot here. Maybe all in. Or wide.
I don't know. All I know it's big.
Yeah, stack to pot ratio is 1.
You can rip it, I guess.
No, it chooses the slightly smaller size, half pot, but not a ton of EV difference between these two. But yeah, I'm get that stack to pot ratio. I guess you just fold out too many flush draws and only play against value. Oh, yeah, 4-2. All right. And 5. Oof, bottom. When you get in there with the bottom of range and a guy raises you or a girl raises you, you just get out. All right.
Limp.
Never limp. Got to reduce that stack to pot ratio. You're too deep for that type of trap.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you unblock a king here. So some 2s, some 4s, and probably some check raises. Yep, some 2, some 4, and a bit of 1 as well. But it goes check, check. Now I'm gonna pick probably these blue sizes.
6, I think. Oh, shit, 16. Oh,
Yeah, just 2x pot.
who finds that?
Let's see how much of our strategy is finding that 2x pot, because that is a savage turn bet.
Wow.
So on the turn, our strategy contains about 16% of these massive overbets. And so we can see that we are down here with some flush draws, some straight draws with some flush equity, all kinds of flush draws, just 2x pot here. And all of our best kings are 2xing pot, and our aces are 2xing pot. So if we're going to go this big with this wide a value range, then we get to find all these bluffs that use this size as well. So pretty interesting one.
What was the sizing on the turn?
2x
2x
pot.
pot.
So on the turn, it was 2x.
Yeah,
Okay,
flop went check, check, and it was 2x on the turn. I mean,
spicy.
what are we afraid of here? Just has a king and sometimes 2 pair. Nope. Oh,
We're afraid
Look
of
at-
the nuts.
look at that savage call on the turn. Ace jack on king 10, 2, 3. Drills the gutter.
Nobody would call 2x.
Well, he's only calling 2x with the ace of spade.
All right.
I think this is one of the queens you can raise. Like, I think queen 3, queen 4, queen 5 are calls. Nope, I'm wrong. Yeah, I think the low suited queens are a lot of calling though.
Very prevalent strategy with the kings, queens, and 2s here. Because they just play well. And we just really don't get fold suited hands here.
Check call.
Check. Check.
Check call.
Yeah, we are not in great spot, but oh, that seems like he's milking us, but our deuce can sustain it. Do we have some leads here?
Yes, but not with his hand.
We do.
Our range is going to lead a lot on this card. So it even finds some with this deuce, probably because it's not a suit of the 3 on board. So it blocks the 3 of the suit on board. So. Queen deuce.
Just all the twos
They're all of
betting.
them. All of them. Except for king deuce. Still looking to check raise king deuce here, 3 streets in. Although I
It's
guess
really
it got
weird to
counterfeit.
me.
Check
Yeah,
call.
it's really weird to me. The fours are checking more than the twos.
Yeah.
Raise.
This one, is it too good? Maybe not. Yeah. Definitely gonna be a raise. Marginal. Check. Our hand just probably really wants to keep this pot small.
We could have some small bets now, I think. I think it's mostly a check, but we could bet two some.
Bet two. Some, yeah,
Alright. It does have some
Even
small bets.
smaller.
small.
Ooh. Alright, yeah, I just riveted the 5. Savage beat. Alright, we'll try and find 1 or 2 more good ones here. Deuce. King 10-8. This is not gonna be a good one.
Check fold.
Raise.
How
Very
often are
high
you raising?
frequency raise.
Alright.
Like 85%.
Nice, 81.5. Excellent. And Jack 10-8, the middle of our range, probably the part that wants to raise the least, and it's still connected to the high part.
I am blasting here. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Bet
4?
4. I would 50.
How much is in the pot? I can't see. 8?
8.
Yeah, I probably pot it and then give up on online diamonds.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's right. That's just what I would do.
It's not
4.
quite- It does have some big bets with the 4 sizing. If you want to go big, half pot is good enough here. Right, puts a lot of pressure because the Jack 10
Oh
connects.
no.
With
No. My stack,
Yeah.
it's gone already.
Yeah. Another half pot click.
I'm going here. I'm polarizing here for sure.
If we bet 4, the pot's gonna be 24. We'll have 28 left. It's gonna be geometric
if
here.
We bet. Well, it's only a 4th pot though, so we bet. What's the bet? What's the white bet? Is that 8?
That's half pot.
So if we bet 8, pot's gonna go to 32. We'll have 28. So I'm going like 10.
So Nick's merging in here.
I'm going 8.
Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna bet small here, but we'll take a look.
Yeah.
Nope, and Nick nailed it. 41.58. Good job, Saeed. Way to find the spot. Click and
Yeah. Now ship it.
All in and get cooler somehow.
Somehow.
uh-oh. Snapped us off. Queens and 3s. Look at that. Called that flop with an
Yeah,
over
call
and
the
backdoor.
flop with that. Oh my gosh.
He's telling his buddy about that hand on the way back to the car.
You wouldn't believe this guy was a maniac. He had 5 deuce.
He runner to flush and I runner 2 pair. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I think we might have to call this the tournament buster session today, right? Oh, always raise. Always raise your suited broadways and your 9s. This is pretty
Call.
high up. This is not going to fold very often. Oh boy.
Flop. Check.
Check.
Check
Buckle
call. We're
up.
not gonna raise.
Call.
Are we not gonna raise?
I'm
No,
calling.
it's not high enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh,
Ah,
you're right. He
Yeah,
was-
and like, one thing we've seen in this blind versus blind is when you have the aces or you flop top pair, like, because the opponent's range is supposed to be so wide. It just
so
wants
what's
to
the worst
apply
jack you think we're check raising here?
Probably we're gonna have check raises with some frequency of all jacks that have a backdoor flush. I'm gonna say we are not check raising jack with jack of clubs with a 10, 9, 8, or 7, right? Like this one, I wouldn't check raise with the club here,
Okay,
right? You're gonna have the jacks that interact with the straight at the bottom and the jacks with better value.
yeah,
And
I would
ones in the
definitely
middle.
check raise though, like jack 3, jack 5 of diamonds before I check raise this hand.
And no,
Oh, all the jacks.
it just check raises all of them except jack queen.
So weird to me.
Yeah,
All the jacks except the best one.
and it traps with top 2.
All right,
Yes, strange spot with these jacks. And the suited ones, yeah, like it's check raising the jack with the club all the time and calling some of the other suited jacks here. But only the ones with an over to the jack, because when an overcard comes, you're not afraid as much. Yeah, the ace, when the ace of hearts comes, your king jack with of hearts isn't afraid. That's why it doesn't do those ones. And he folds. All right, that was a pretty good one. I think we're gonna wrap up for tonight. So if you are interested in this type of material, reach out to us on Discord, and we will have another study session next Monday. Thanks for popping in, everyone.